Hello everyone, welcome to the session of reviewing the literature in research methodology. So guys, before going to the literature review, what is literature? In general, literature means a critical recap of what has already been researched on a topic. So it could be anything by your books, by your journal articles, and from some other sources. So literature is the collected body of scholarly works related to a topic. So now, what is literature review? So, literature review is the documentation of a comprehensive review of the published and unpublished work from secondary sources of data. So, where in the areas of specific interest to the researcher. So, this literature review is an integral part of entire research process and makes valuable contribution to every operational step. So, guys, why this literature review is important? To find out for yourself what's already known about the topic and to give your reader a critical overview of what you have found on the topic, and then to find out what's missing, that is any gaps in your research topic. So this is your literature review. Next comes your functions of literature review. See, there are four basic functions of literature review. First is bring clarity and focus to your research problem, then improve your methodology, then broaden your knowledge base, then last, contextualize your findings. So first is bring clarity and focus to your research problem. So the process of reviewing the literature helps in understanding the subject area in a better way and conceptualizing, that is analyzing the research problem clearly and precisely. And this, the literature review, can play an extremely important role in shaping your research problem. So next, by improving your research methodology. So this tells you of others have used procedures and methods similar to the ones that you are proposing. So those procedures and methods worked well for them, and what are all the pitfalls, that is any risks they have faced with them. And it also lets you to be better positioned to select a methodology that is capable of providing valid answers to the question which is similar to the one you are investigating. So next is by broadening your knowledge base. So this literature review ensures you to read widely around the subject area in which you are intended to conduct your research study. See, it is very important to know what other researchers found in regard to the same or similar questions, and what are all the theories have been put forward, and also what are all the gaps exist in the relevant body of your knowledge. Then contextualize your findings. So this literature review helps in identifying how your findings compare with the existing body of your knowledge, and then how do the answers to your research questions compare with what others have found, and then how are your findings differ from those of others, and then how it is important to place your findings in the context of what it already known in your field of inquiry, that is it places your findings in the circumstance, that is a particular situation of your field. Then how to review the literature, that is procedure for reviewing the literature. So there are four steps to review the literature. First is search for existing literature in your area of study, then review the literature selected, then develop a theoretical framework, then develop a conceptual framework. First is search for existing literature. So here you people start with at least some idea of the broad subject area and the problem you are wishing to investigate, then to what, to set some parameters for your search. So to compile a bibliography for this broad area, so there are sources that you can use to prepare this bibliography. So the sources like books, journals, and internet. So by this you can compile your bibliography. So how? Firstly, start with the least issue, then examine its content page. To what? To see if there is an article of relevant to your research topic or not. And then start by reading the abstract. If at all the abstract is relevant, then download it and then read it further. Then reviewing the selected literature. So here, firstly, now that you have identified several books and articles, so the next step is to start reading them critically to put together these themes and issues that are associated. So if you do not have a theoretical framework or themes in mind to start with, so use separate sheets of paper for each article or book. So once you develop a rough framework, slot the findings from the material so far you people have reviewed into that framework using what? Using a separate sheet of paper for each themes of that framework. Then notice where there are any significant differences, that is any important differences of opinion among the researchers, and then give your opinion, that is give the validity about these important differences. Then ascertain the areas in which little or nothing is known. Then if at all there are some gaps exist in the body of the knowledge. Then developing a theoretical framework. So, as you start reading the literature, you will soon discover that the problem you wish to investigate has its roots in a number of theories that have been developed from different perspectives. So, if the framework is logically sound and sustained, substantiated by previous research studies, so there will be a strong possibility that the prediction, that is, you people know that what is hypothesis, evolving from that framework will be supported. So there are 4 steps to develop the theoretical framework, that is selection of a concept, identify the interrelationships among concepts, then formulating the definitions, and then formulating the theoretical rationale. So first is selecting the concept. So here the concept which has been selected, it can be an image or symbolic representation of an abstract idea like your health concept, pain concept, or intelligent concept. So then after selecting the concept, then identify the relationships among the concepts. So a relationship, what you are identifying, it may be invariable. Invariable means which is stable, that is constant. So like your scientific law, that is it's a statement describing what always happens under certain conditions, like your Newton's laws of motion, that is which has no contradiction, has been observed, that is it's a situation or ideas in opposition to one another, so there is no contradiction has been observed. This is one type of relationship we have to identify. Then tentative or inconclusive, that is which is unproven, so the relationship that doesn't convey any truth or falsity. So this type of relationship we need to identify by selecting the concept. Then formulating the definitions. So to formulate the definitions, there are 2 types of definition, that is conceptual definition and operational definition. This conceptual definition, it conveys the general meaning of the concept, whereas this operational definition, it adds another dimension to the conceptual definition by delineating, means depicting or by describing the procedures or operations required to measure the particular concept, that is which have been selected. Then formulate the theoretical rationale. Here rationale means which is having some reasoning and logic or logic. So through the literature review, an investigator becomes aware of, or he confirms by identifying the theoretical connections between the variables. And by evaluating the formulation of theoretical rationale, so the internal structures like your concepts and their definitions should be clarity and continuity. Then the approach to understanding the phenomena, that is any circumstances or situation, whether the situation is inductive or deductive, that is which is related or not related, should be in logical. Then developing a conceptual framework. A conceptual framework is an analytical tool with variations and some contexts. Then it is used to make conceptual distinctions and some organized ideas. So the strong conceptual frameworks capture something which is real and do this and it will do this in a way that it is easy to remember and easy to apply it anywhere. So there is a main difference between theoretical framework and conceptual framework. The theoretical framework provides the general set of rules in which a study occurs, whereas this conceptual framework refers to the specific ideas a researcher uses in the study. So, this is the main difference between this theoretical and conceptual framework. Then, at last, writing about literature review. So, in order to comply with the first function of literature review, that is to provide theoretical background to your particular study, so list the main themes that have emerged while reading your literature. Then convert your themes, that is subheadings, to be precise. Then it should be descriptive of the theme in a question and follow a logical progression. Then by subheading, record the main findings with respect to the theme in question, then highlighting the reasoning for argument, and then identify the gaps and issues between them. Then the next function, contextualizing the findings of your study in undertaking at the research report writing stage. So it places your findings in the particular circumstance of what others have found out. Then it needs to quote your findings, that is informative, either contradict or conformative, and then add it to them. So this is the way of writing about your literature which you have reviewed. So thank you.